Out and About TV. Travel, adventure, and RVs. Join Sharon and Tom each week as they travel America in a 30-foot trailer exploring and living the RV lifestyle. From trip and product reviews to RV show reports and an unfiltered look at life on the road. This is the show for you. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. I'm your host, Tom McAuliff. Welcome to Out and About, and we're happy to have you here. Out and About, travel, adventure, and RVs. So we're going to talk about all three of those. Here, episode 7 now. Wow, time going by fast. Really appreciate the emails and such, and hopefully we'll get some of you cowards to come on camera and talk a little bit about your rigs and such like that. So this week, this time around, we're going to talk about redoing your rig. I redid the roof and painted my trailer, and we're going to talk also about national parks, and also going to talk a little bit about CO2, carbon monoxide, and LP gas. What are the safety factors? What do we need to do? What do we need to do to stay and keep safe? I also want to mention that, I don't know if you know this or not, but I also have another site called Tom's Cabin, Books and More. It's one of the fastest growing shows on BookTube, and it's all about books. So if you like to read or you're an author, get in touch and come on by every Saturday at noon. They broadcast over here. I'm missing my baby. My Sharon is still over in Europe. She's coming back soon. And I'm looking forward to having her back. And she's got a bunch of stuff to talk to you about here on future episodes of Out and About. So let us know what you would like to see and hear. Just send us an email right there. We also have a Facebook page. We also have a Facebook page now. And you can see the list of shows and what's covered in each show, communicate, share ideas back and forth, the Out and About TV Facebook page. So go and check that out. Well, let's get underway now, and away we go.
At Out and About TV, we've done the legwork for you, watching, analysing and curating the top RV YouTube channels that cover everything from trailers and fifth wheels to vans and mobile homes. Whether you're a full-time RVer, a weekend warrior, or just a RV curious wannabe, we will help you find the very best channels and provide some unique content of our own. Channels that entertain, educate, and inspire with hosts that have the heart of a teacher. These RV YouTubers have turned their passion into full-time careers, influencing the RV community and even shaping industry trends. Stop by and we will examine what these channels are covering. And it is more than just entertainment. Just consider Out and About your personal digital campfire for all things RV.
The great roof redo of 2026. Dun, 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 dun.
I've always loved classic trailers. I don't know what it is about them, but I love the modern rigs too, but there's something about classic trailers that just always touches my heart. And that's why I was excited to be able to rehab Dragonfly, a 1968 Shasta during COVID. But the one thing I will say is that and really like any other rig. Seams, seals, caulking, it's a constant battle. Let's take a look at this this trailer right here, if I can switch this around. Seams and caulking and water intrusion are a constant battle. Constant. So, over the past day or two, we have been, again, now I just did the roof of this trailer last year. No, 2 years ago. Okay. So a year ago, this last summer. But already I can see, some cracks, places where the caulking has separated from where it should be. So we have basically been sanding and cleaning and scrubbing and sanding and more, and taping, of course, taping everything off. And so first we're going to do the roof way up there, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then the rest. Now, kind of interesting, I chose to go with Rust-Oleum. The other secret I'll tell you is I use a product called Glovit, Gluvit. It is from the boating and yachting industry. And want to know why you don't buy the ones with handles? See what happens? The handle breaks off after it's been in the sun. And at any rate, so squirrel. Here's the other thing I just reminded me. Bought these moon hubcaps from E-Trailer. We love E-Trailer, but they rusted, inside of 2 years. So have sanded and taped everything off, taped all the lights, and the windows and everything. The idea is that, once we paint, we paint. That's what we're doing. Gonna do the white and then blue for the trim. Again, this is this nice sea blue. And, take a look at that paint right here. That paint is, a year and a half, 2 years old. Already all flaked and, and you can see here where the caulking is kind of separated a little bit. So you put Glovit. You get yourself a small touch-up brush and put some Glovit on there, and it basically fills in all of the Dragonfly 1968 Compact here at Out and About TV. A brief commercial message. Let's go up stop side and take a look at the roof. It is very bright up here. But like right here, you can see that it's worn away, scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed all this. And so this is a great test. This roof has basically been beat on by the Florida sun. And so we know that these rubber roof EPDM, I believe it's called, last when you're not covered. When you don't have a cover, either a cover for actually your rig or put this under shade somewhere, lasts about 2 years. Here's the other thing, you can see where the caulking and such has separated from there. So we've sanded, and we're going to primer and And then we're going to paint. And once here's another great example of how the caulking used to be smooth, and they just wore the heck out of it. So that's kind of what my weekend is going to be like. And the warden keeps a tight rein on me. There's our nation's Air Force. Above, that's a new F-35. $20 million or $20 billion of your tax dollars at work. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And that's what I'll be doing this weekend. So do me a favor. If you drive by the house this weekend and you see me working in the yard, will you do me a favor? Shoot me, kill me, please, help. So we're going with liquid rubber, a Canadian product, EPDM primer, and then of course the roof coating. And then for the external, for the white, just straight old Rust-Oleum Professional in gloss white.
The great roof redo of 2026. Dun, 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 dun. Yes. I love iced tea. Sweet summer tea. Half and half. Or better yet, make me an Arnold Palmer. Half lemonade, half iced tea. Ooh, very good, especially in summertime. I'm a big believer in second chances, including giving my 1969 Shasta Compact a new lease on life. There's something special about bringing an old trailer back to life. And sometimes, the paint can get a little bit worn and just needs a little bit of refreshing. Yeah. So there's something special about bringing an old trailer back to life, especially when it's one you've put your own time, sweat, and money into. This is my 1969 Shasta Compact trailer, built in the summer of 1969. And like a lot of vintage rigs, the roof had seen better days. So instead of paying thousands of dollars to have it redone, although I'm very, very interested in the new Flex Armor roof technology that's becoming very, very popular. But instead of paying thousands of dollars to have it redone, I'm going to pick up a paintbrush and do it myself and save a little bit of money. First up, strip, clean, prep. Say that quickly 3 times. Clean, strip, prep. My first step was to strip it all down. I removed the old worn-out roofing material and got it down to a clean surface. From there, it was all about the prep and the primer. But I can't stress this step enough. You have to get down to that bare straight. You have to get down and strip all that mold, mildew, dirt, whatever. Strip it down to a bare surface, and then primer. Put on some sticky primer so that good roof coating will stick. I removed the worn out roofing material and got it down to a clean surface. And from there, it was all about the prep and the primer. Cleaning it thoroughly, making sure there was no dirt, no loose materials, and nothing that would keep the new coating from bonding effectively. And here's the bonus about this roof coating. It's made by a Canadian company and comes with a warranty of up to 10 years. Now, come on, I put a similar coating on this exact trailer, 2.5 years ago, and already it's worn and probably should have been done before last summer. I give this coating, now that I've all done it and seen it, under the Florida sunshine, 3 years tops. And that's just part of the cost of doing business. Just got to factor that in. You're going to have to do the caulking and the roof every couple of years, and that's just part of the wonderful world of RVing. So I got some real peace of mind by their warranty, and that was cool. Um, Cleaned all the surface, put on the first coat of primer, and then between coats, I let it dry. No rushing. Got to let it dry properly. No shortcuts. Just doing it the right way. So we cut in all the edges around the skylight and fan, everything, and then put a light coat, let it dry, another light coat of sticky primer. And at that point, we were ready for the roof coating. And sure enough, but before we go there, I started thinking to myself, why just stop at the roof? The weather is beautiful. I went all in for a total exterior refresh. First, I sanded down the exterior, the white and then the blue trim, and then I taped everything off carefully, the windows, the trim, the edges, stripped off the old caulk, as I said, and laid down new caulk. But this time I did something a little bit different, and something that, quite frankly, I should have done last time. I used a product called Gluvit, GLUV-IT. You can get it at West Marine, for example. It's from the boating industry, and it's basically liquid fiberglass. But it seeps into cracks and crevices and pinholes, unlike anything I've ever seen. Dries to a rock hard finish, paintable finish, and so I basically it's a process that took about 3 days, but I painted it very nicely in all the seams, and it seeped in there, and the process took about 3 days, but I don't think I'm going to be having any leaks. And I wondered why I didn't do this when I did the rehab the first time, but oh well, live and learn. So now I have a rock hard surface on all the seams, ready for painting. And we're going to do exactly that. So once all the sealing was done, I used the sticky roof primer, cut in all the edges, cut around the skylight, and it's fast drying. So after a 2-hour lunch break, I was ready to go with the roof coating. Sunshine, slight breeze, 70 degrees. It was time for the rubber roof coating to be applied. It went on smooth, a nice, even coverage. And after that dried, and it dried very quickly, probably 45 minutes, I put a second coat on. And after that dried, I now had a very nice roof that supposedly is good for 10 years. I'll be happy if I get 3 out of it. And according to the manufacturer, I should get 10, but we'll see. My experience with the Florida climate gives it a 3-year, 2 to 3 years. It's brutal. It's brutal. There's a reason why people put their rigs under shade, cover their tires. UV here in Florida is a definite factor. So when it was all done, total time was about 5 days, and the payoff was real. I gotta say, the results speak for themselves. I get compliments all the time, and that's always really refreshing and nice to see. Smooth, shiny, clean lines. Shiny. Even though I painted it the same colors, it looks like a completely different rig. Take a look at the pictures. And it's something I'm proud to pull down the road, and even more proud to say that I did it myself. Here's the kicker. Total cost? How much you think? How about $258? $258. That's it. Little time, little effort, little sweat, and the willingness to learn as you go. And instead of replacing it, you can give it a new lease on life. So if you've got an older trailer sitting around, or one that needs a new look, don't overlook redoing it, and don't overlook doing it yourself. If your vintage trailer needs a facelift, show it some love. With the right approach, a few bucks, and a little effort and patience, you might be surprised at what you can do and with the results. You will wind up with a trailer you'll be proud to take out and about. From the sea, from the air, from the land, the latest in news and perspectives. Time now for the RV and camping news here at Out and About. I'm Tom McAuliff. Let's get right to it. Let's take a few minutes and get you caught up on what's happening right now in the world of RVing and camping. Because if you're planning a trip this season or thinking about buying an RV, there are some real changes that you need to know about. First, let's talk about the industry trends and the market reset. First up, the RV industry itself. After the boom years during the pandemic, things are starting to level out. In fact, recent data shows RV sales are down significantly year over year, and some reports are showing declines of over 20%. Now, that might sound like bad news for the industry, but for buyers, it's actually a good thing. Inventory is improving, pricing is stabilizing, and the market is becoming more balanced overall, meaning fewer bidding wars and more negotiation power if you're in the market for a rig. In short, slowly but surely, the market is returning to normal. Thank God. In new products and innovations, on the product side, manufacturers are continuing to innovate. We're seeing a big push towards smaller, more maneuverable motorhomes, more automation, and more maneuverable, especially in the Class C category, designed for families and first-timers. At the same time, there's growth in the overland and off-grid segment. At the same time, there's significant growth in the overland and off-grid segments, with companies like Earth Cruiser marking nearly 2 decades in that space and continuing to expand. Across the board, RVs are getting smarter. More automation, better solar integration, app-controlled systems, improved connectivity, perfect for remote workers and long-term travelers. There's been some significant industry moves and business changes. Behind the scenes, there's a lot happening. Major companies are reshuffling their management and leadership and expanding their operations. For example, Thor Industries recently appointed a new senior vice president focusing on long-term strategy and growth. Forest River has also made personnel changes as it adapts to shifting market conditions. And companies like Encore RV are expanding their dealer networks, meaning more availability and service options for customers. Even RV communities are growing. One major RV club just surpassed 100,000 members, showing that the lifestyle is still alive and well and expanding. In campground news, parks, and travel trends, on the camping side, we're seeing both expansion and market pressures. New RV resorts are opening, including a new development near Lake Havasu That's expected to add more sites and more amenities for travelers. But at the same time, demand remains high. Campgrounds, especially national and state parks, are still filling up fast, particularly during peak seasons. So if you're planning a trip this summer, you better get on it and book early. Gas prices and travel costs are out of control. Fuel, the big one, the big question mark. Gas prices have climbed back above $4 a gallon nationwide for the first time in quite some time. In some places, they're even above $5 a gallon. And that's having a real impact on folks' camping plans and the RV world in general. Higher fuel costs are making some travelers rethink their long-distance trips and are even affecting RV sales and stock prices across the industry. The good news, while prices are high, recent reports suggest the rate of increase may be slowing a bit. Still, it's going to be something that most people have to factor into their summer travel plans. On the new gear and technical updates front, here's a quick hit. New gear. Companies are rolling out upgrades designed to make RVing easier and more efficient. We're seeing things like improved towing technologies, new slide-out hardware kits, expanded service networks for tires and maintenance, and even major travel stops are expanding their RV services, adding things like tire repair, battery support, and roadside assistance options across the country. Take a look at what Love's has done. You know, they're almost now not only a gas and truck stop, but also a place for you to park your rig overnight with full hookups. So that's pretty interesting and exciting. So what does all this mean for you? It means that 2026 is going to be a transition year. More inventory, better buying opportunities, new technology, but also higher travel costs, especially at the pump. The bottom line, RVing is still one of the best and most cost-effective ways to see the United States of America. You need just to plan a little bit smarter, that's all. And that's your latest update from the RV and camping worlds. I'm Tom McAuliff. We'll see you out and about. Each week, we'll give you the very latest on news from the RV and camping industries. America's greatest deal, the National Park System. I'm Tom McAuliff. America's national parks, a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. There are very few things left in the world that truly feel like a bargain, something that delivers more than it costs, something that leaves you thinking, how is this even possible? But out here in America's national parks, that feeling still exists. Despite the budget cuts that are proposed by the current administration, Americans love our national parks. Because for the price of a dinner out, sometimes less, you can step into landscapes that took millions of years to create, places that are so vast, so raw, so beautiful, so awe-inspiring that they don't feel real until you actually are standing in them. And here's the part that most people don't fully realize. The United States doesn't just have a national park system. It has one of the most diverse, expansive, and accessible collections of natural wonders anywhere on the planet. One country with every landscape imaginable. Think about it for a moment. In one country, in one road trip, one lifetime, you can stand on the edge of the Grand Canyon, staring down nearly a mile into Earth's history. Then days later, you can find yourself deep in the swamps of the Everglades National Park, surrounded by water, wildlife, and crocodiles. Head west and you're climbing the granite cliffs of Yosemite National Park. Drive north and suddenly you're in Glacier National Park, where alpine lakes mirror snow-covered mountains. And if you really want to push the edge of adventure, you go all the way up into Alaska for Denali National Park, where nature still calls all the shots. Deserts, mountains, forests, oceans, volcanoes, rivers. It's not just variety, it's every ecosystem that you can possibly imagine preserved and waiting for you and your family. National parks are the very best deal and value in travel today, period. Now let's talk about value for a minute, because this is where things get really interesting. Now, as you are probably aware, Sharon and I are going to be selling the houses and buying a rig probably next fall or so, and hitting the road and basically going to hit all of the national parks in the lower 48 and maybe Alaska as well, and then write a book about it. As you may or may not know, I'm an author with 30 novels out on Amazon Kindle. Check me out. But this is where things get real interesting, because when you talk about value, you look at an annual pass for the national park systems, what they call the America the Beautiful Pass, and it costs only about $80. And that gives you access to all of the national parks and a lot of the memorial sites and things that aren't necessarily a national park but are still very interesting. Like, for example, we stopped and looked at President Lincoln's burial site, his grave and memorial there in Kentucky. But that pass, only $80, gets you access to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites, including more than 60 national parks. Let that sink in. You can spend a full year exploring places people travel across the globe to see for less than the cost of a single night in a mid-range hotel. And if you're traveling in an RV, which is, let's be honest, the ultimate way to experience these parks, you're not just visiting, you're living right in the middle of it. Waking up to mountain air, listening to a babbling brook or river outside your door. stepping outside with your morning coffee and seeing something completely different every day. No airports, no baggage lines, no rush, no crowds, just you, the road, and the next great view. The ultimate national park experience, in my opinion, is via RV. No doubt. There's something about pulling into a national park campground that just feels different. It's quieter, it's slower, more intentional. You're not just checking into a room, you're setting up camp in one of the most beautiful places on earth. Maybe it's a site tucked up into the pines, or maybe you're overlooking a canyon. Maybe it's near a lake where the water is so still it reflects the sky like glass. And at night, no city lights, just stars, millions of them. I'll never forget when I saw the Northern Lights for the first time. It's truly something to see. Millions of stars, more than most have ever seen. That's the experience that you cannot put a price on. Our parks cover our history, our culture, and the stories that shaped our nation. The National Park System isn't just about nature and landscapes, it's about American stories. It includes places like the Mesa Verde National Park, where you can walk among ancient cliff dwellings, or the Gettysburg National Military Park, where history still echoes across the fields of the Civil War. Even landmarks like the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, Independence Hall are part of a broader system here in America. So when you explore these places, you're not just seeing nature, you're stepping into the very story of America itself. And with every season, there's opportunity for a new experience. These parks change from season to season. The feel of them changes. And as I do my research for our trip, I'm finding out more and more and falling deeper and deeper in love with our park system. These seasons, they change. Summer brings long days and open trails. Fall, the hillsides explode in color. Winter transforms parks like Yellowstone into something almost otherworldly, with steam rising up through the snow, wildlife moving through silence. And spring, my favorite, that's rebirth. Waterfalls roaring, flowers blooming, everything waking back up. No matter when you go, it's never the same park twice. And maybe that's the real story here. In a world that moves faster and faster every year, where everything feels louder, busier, and more complicated, the national parks remind us of something simple, something steady, something real. They remind us that there are still places where you can disconnect, breathe, and just be. They belong to all of us. Race, creed, income level, doesn't matter. They belong to all of us. And they're protected not just for today, but for future generations, for your kids, for your grandkids, and for your kids' kids. And maybe even the version of yourself that needs a little space to think. And maybe the most powerful part of this story is that it didn't necessarily have to turn out this way. It almost didn't. At a time when much of the world was claiming land for power, wealth, or conquest, America made a different choice. We looked at places of unimaginable beauty, towering mountains, endless canyons, ancient forests, and instead of asking, how do we use this? How do we harvest this? We asked, how do we protect it? When Yellowstone became the first national park in the world in 1872, it wasn't just a policy decision, it was a promise that these places would belong to everyone, not just the privileged, not just the powerful, but to families, to dreamers, to future generations who hadn't yet been born. And today, when you stand in one of these parks, when you feel the wind and you hear the silence and see the scale of it all, you realize you're not just visiting a place, you're stepping back into that promise. So whether you're planning your first extended RV trip like we are, whether you're planning your first RV trip or your 150th, whether you're chasing mountains, coastline, deserts, or forests, there's a national park waiting for you. And the best part, you don't need a passport, you don't need a guidebook, you don't need a fortune, you just need the willingness to go. So how do you do national parks the right way? That's what we're researching. That's what we're studying. Now that we're inspired, we see that the beauty is there. And, as I've commented before, I've never really seen the mountains with the snow on top. But you're thinking to yourself, okay, we're going to do this. Let's do this right. Here's the truth. A great national park trip doesn't just happen. It takes significant planning. And quite frankly, the more you plan, the better your trip's going to be. Not overly planned. You don't want to be one of those people that shows up with an Excel spreadsheet and has every moment scheduled. I know people like that. But through not well planned, not over planned, not scheduled down to the minute, but a thoughtful way that lets you experience the parks without stress, crowds, or surprises. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one is knowing how to do it right. And I'd submit the difference is planning. And timing is also everything. Let's start with the timing because this might be the single biggest factor in your entire experience. Most people visit national parks the same way. Middle of the day, middle of the summer, right in the middle of the crowds. And that's fine, but it's not ideal. If you really want to experience a park, really feel it, you've got to think differently. Early mornings, late afternoons, nighttime hikes. Shoulder seasons, spring and fall. That's when the magic happens. That's when the light is softer, the temperatures are better, the crowds thin out, just enough for you to actually hear the wind and the water and the silence. In places like Yosemite National Park or Zion National Park, that can make all the difference in the world. You need to camp inside the park. Let me say that again. It's vital that you try to park. It's vital that you try and land a campsite in the park. It makes a world of difference in the experience. When you do that, when you camp inside the park as opposed to outside, you beat the traffic, you get access to the trails first, you experience sunrise and sunset without rushing in or out, and at night, when the day visitors leave, you're still there, and the park belongs all to you. And that's when the parks feel most alive. Now these campsites, wow, they can be competitive, especially in popular parks like Glacier or Grand Canyon. So you want to book early, sometimes several, maybe even a year in advance. But trust me, it's worth it. Now let's talk about RVs, because not every park is created equal when it comes to access. Some of the roads are some of the roads are narrow, some tunnels have height restrictions, some campgrounds were designed decades ago, long before today's larger rigs. So you need to know before you go. Know your length, know your height, know your weight, and know where you can and can't fit, and know where you can and can't fit. Parks like Zion National Park, for example, have tunnels and require escorts for larger RVs. Others may limit access entirely beyond certain points. If you're, I want to say it's over 30 feet, there are some roads that are restricted. That's not a bad thing. It just means that sometimes the best move is to park the rig and get out on foot to go see what you need to see. It's vital too to be prepared, but it's also vital to keep things simple. You don't need to bring everything, you just need to bring the right things. Water, layers, simple food, a basic plan, place to meet in case you get separated. A place to meet in case you get separated. A place to meet in case you get separated. Because the beauty of national park travel, especially RV travel, is simplicity. Wake up, make some coffee, pick a trail and a viewpoint, and head out. Some of your best days won't be planned at all, they'll just happen. One other thing of note, respect the parks and they'll reward you. One other thing of note, respect the parks, please. Respect them and they will reward you. And this part matters. These places are protected for a reason. So respect them. Keep your distance from wildlife. Stay on marked trails. Pack out what you pack in. And take only pictures. Because when you treat these places with respect, when you treat these places the right way, they give you something back. Moments that you can't script. Encounters you'll never forget. Views that will stay with you long after you go home. Yep, national parks are indeed one of the greatest values in America today. But more than that, they're frankly one of the best experiences you can have outdoors. And with just a little planning, a little awareness, and a few dollars, and a willingness to slow down, you won't just visit these places, you'll truly experience them. Because out here, on these roads and these parks, you'll find something rare. You'll find adventure. You'll find perspective. One of the greatest values anywhere in the world. Welcome to America's national parks. We'll see you out and about. Well, here at Out and About, we take safety very, very seriously. We are for, by the way, a congressional measure that's moving through the Congress that basically at a certain level and above, you must have training before you're allowed to drive down the road, at 70 miles an hour with no training in a huge RV. We think that that is an important thing and that the industry should step up and provide that training. It's time for a serious tale. We're putting this community together, and it is so exciting to see both our Facebook page as well as here the show. We're going to get to a regular schedule either every 2 weeks or once a week. We have 7 episodes now, but we received an email, and this is a very serious tale, so please bear with us. Each year in the United States, over 100,000 people visit an emergency room for accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. You can also put LP gas poisoning in that as well. Tens of thousands are hospitalized, and there are even some fatalities, and some are even RVers. You know, we use generators a lot when we're camping, in modern camping. And according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, hundreds of people die each year from accidental carbon monoxide and gas poisoning in the United States. Thousands more are hospitalized. How many people die from carbon monoxide poisoning? In 2022, 1,244 people in the United States died from carbon monoxide poisoning, according to provisional CDC data. It's very simple. We put the generator way too close to the rig. The smoke and the carbon monoxide starts to build up, sometimes right under the rig. I once saw a guy because it was about to rain, he put the generator underneath the rig, which is a great place for all that carbon monoxide to fill up. More people died from accidental carbon monoxide poisoning in 2022 than in any year since 1999. The number of deaths increased 85% from 2012 to 2022. The Consumer Product Safety Commission concludes that portable generators are associated with more than 40% of the carbon monoxide deaths related to consumer products since 2019. Unfortunately, there are no stats for RVers or incidents that are directly related to RVing and trailers. But given how many of us use these portable power generators, there's fear that dozens, perhaps hundreds of RV and camping members of the community are in these numbers. So we got this email, and rather than me blathering it out, it's rather lengthy, and rather than me blathering it out, I used this new digital voice technology from 11 Labs, cutting edge stuff, I guess it's AI, to do the narration. Please give this a listen. It's a vital story from fifth wheelers Ken and Donna from Michigan. And while we're listening to their story, we're going to run some pictures of different products and solutions for monitoring gases and carbon monoxide in your rig. Before we even finish this broadcast, go order yourself a CO2 smoke carbon monoxide detector for your trailer, fifth wheel, or motorhome. Ken?
Hi, Tom. Would love to be on the show after I have healed up. In the meantime, please pass along our story so that no one else gets hurt. I'm 63. We sold the house, bought an RV, almost died our 3rd week on the road. I'm Ken. My wife, Donna, is 61. We've been married 38 years. We talked about this for decades. Sell the house when the kids are grown. Buy an RV. See the country. No schedule, no lawn to mow, just us in the open road. Last spring, we finally did it. Sold the house in April, bought a 32-foot Class C in May, spent 2 weeks learning how everything worked. Then we hit the road. First 2 weeks were perfect. Campgrounds in Tennessee, Georgia, the Gulf Coast. We kept saying to each other, why didn't we do this sooner? Week 3, we pulled into a campground in Texas, middle of June, hot as hell. We parked, set up, plugged in shore power, but the electrical hookup at our site was broken. Happens sometimes at older campgrounds. No problem. We had a portable generator, Honda, ran it 100 times before. We set it up about 15 feet from the RV, pointed it away from us. Ran it all night for the AC. Went to bed around 10. I woke up at 4 a.m. and something was wrong. My head was pounding. Not a normal headache. This deep pressure that made it hard to think. I tried to sit up and almost fell over. The room was spinning. I looked at Donna. She was still asleep. But her breathing was off, shallow, fast. I shook her. She didn't wake up. I shook her harder. She opened her eyes, but she couldn't focus. Just stared at me like she didn't know who I was. I don't know how I got us out. I barely remember it. I just knew we had to get outside. I dragged her to the door, got it open. We fell out onto the grass. I lay there breathing, couldn't move, couldn't think. After a few minutes, my head started to clear. That's when I realized what happened. The campground manager called 911. Fire department came. They had handheld detectors. The CO level inside our RV was over 400 ppm. You're lucky you woke up, the firefighter said. At those levels, most people don't. He explained what happened. Wind shifted in the night, pushed the exhaust right back toward your RV, came in through a vent, built up while you slept. I told him the generator was 15 feet away, pointed the other way. Doesn't matter. Wind shifts, exhaust drifts, 15 feet isn't enough. 20 feet isn't enough sometimes. I've seen people die with the generator 25 feet away. He asked if we had a CO detector inside. We did. A cheap one that came with the RV, little white circle on the ceiling. He shook his head. Most of these cheap RV detectors don't go off until 70 ppm. You were at 400. Your detector should have been screaming for hours. It didn't make a sound, did it? It didn't. These things fail all the time. Sensors wear out. Batteries die, or they're just garbage from the factory. I've seen it 100 times. Donna spent 2 days in the hospital. I spent 1. They said we had CO poisoning, headaches, confusion, memory problems for weeks after. The doctor told us we were about an hour from not waking up at all. I couldn't stop thinking about it. We did everything right. Generator away from the RV, pointed the exhaust out, ran it the same way we always did, and we almost died anyway. When we got out of the hospital, I started researching. I found out generators kill 85 to 100 Americans every year from CO poisoning alone, more than any other consumer product. I read about 3 friends in their 20s who died at a music festival. Generator next to their camper. Exhaust blew under the trailer. All 3 found dead in the morning. I read about a 27-year-old who died in his horse trailer at a rodeo. Generator outside. Vents open. Still died. Same story over and over. Generator running. Cheap detector or no detector. Found dead. I asked the firefighter what detector we should get. Something with a digital display, something that shows actual numbers, not just a light or a beep. You want to see what's in the air before it gets dangerous. I asked what he uses. Do LoRa. Dual sensors. Detects CO and natural gas and propane, shows real-time numbers on the screen. Warns you early. Not at 70 ppm when you're already poisoned. He said propane is a big one in RVs too. You've got a propane fridge, propane stove, propane water heater, propane furnace. Any of those can leak. Your CO detector won't see it. You need both sensors. I didn't know that. I thought CO detectors picked up everything. They don't. We ordered 2 LoRas before we left Texas. One by the bed, one near the kitchen. Now, every time we park, I check them. Every time we run the generator, I watch the numbers. Every time we use the propane stove or the heater, I glance at the display. Zeros across the board. That's all I need to see. We've been back on the road for 5 months now. Donna still talks about that night. The feeling of not being able to wake up, not knowing where she was, not recognizing me. She keeps the detector next to her side of the bed now. First thing she looks at every morning. We still run the generator sometimes, but we do it different now. Farther away, check the wind, and we have something inside that actually tells us the truth. That cheap detector that came with our RV, it is now in the trash. If you live in an RV, if you travel in a camper, if you ever run a generator while you sleep, I'm not trying to scare you, but you need to know what I did not know. Generators are the #1 killer for CO poisoning. More than furnaces, more than water heaters, more than anything else. And that detector that came with your RV, it's probably not going to save you. It'll wait until you're already poisoned to make a sound, if it makes one at all. Get something that shows you real numbers, something that warns you early, something with dual or multiple sensors that sees propane and other gases. I'm Ken. Thanks for listening, and on behalf of Donna and I, be safe.
Thanks so very much for your important email and life-saving advice. Viewers, get yourself to your computer and order and install a carbon monoxide CO2 LP gas smoke detector as soon as possible, especially if you use a generator of any kind. It can be cheap insurance. As we see, there are many, many brands to consider when it comes to these gas detectors. Perhaps the thing to remember is that you can do everything right and still wind up with a bad outcome. They call carbon monoxide and CO2 the silent killer because you don't really have any warning before it's too late. One other idea I'm researching, water detectors. Put one under the sink, by the toilet, and it will instantly notify you if moisture is detected. Given the enemy that water is for RVs, it can be cheap insurance. Don't fool around. Get a detector. Better safe than sorry. And thanks, Ken and Donna. You are certainly outstanding. We'll see you out there. Hey, I want to thank you so much for coming by. I hope you had a good time, learned a little bit. We'd love to hear from you and what you would like to see on the show. And we'd also love to see some pictures of your rig. Send us a picture of your trailer or fifth wheel and brag on it a little bit. If it's a classic, if it's a new one, send us a picture of it. And you can see the address right here at the bottom of the screen, or post it on our Facebook page, and make it a point to tell your friends and come on by, and please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you out and about.